If you want the biggest story in University of San Diego athletics right now, it's not actually the season ending, it's the future. Toreros men's basketball team just wrapped up its year with a heartbreaking 58-56 loss to Seattle in the West Coast Conference Tournament, where USD had a shot to win it at the buzzer, but the three-pointer hit from the front of the rim. And the real headline, though, it's the program's reset. Athletic director Kimya Massey moved quickly and hired Iowa State assistant J.R. Blunt, one of the fastest rising defensive minds in college basketball, as the new head coach. And this move comes with serious backing. Reports say that the University of San Diego is building a $2 to $4 million war chest NIL pool to support the roster and compete in the West Coast Conference. So even though the Toreros finished 12-21 this season, the expectation moving forward is very different. The question now becomes, can this new investment and coaching hire turn USD into a real contender in the West Coast Conference, or will programs like St. Mary's continue to dominate the conference in the future? Let's start with men's basketball, Frank. The Toreros season comes down to a heartbreaking loss to Seattle after they won the first game of the WCC men's basketball tournament. They had a chance to win at the buzzer. Forward Vuk Boskovic launched a go-ahead three, but it hit the front of the rim as time expired. Boskovic led the team with 14 points, while Gavin Ripp continued his late-season surge with another double-digit game. Tenari Lane played all 40 minutes for the second straight night. The loss capped the season where USD finished 12-21, but there was still noticeable progress, and the Toreros doubled both their overall wins and conference wins from a season ago. It's the end of the Lavin era, and now new beginnings with a new head coach.
Yeah, absolutely. They also opened the West Coast Conference Tournament with a big 66-62 win over LMU, who destroyed them twice during the season, snapping a 6-game losing streak against LMU. Bigger story surrounding USD basketball right now isn't the season's end, but what comes next. As you mentioned, Steve Lavin out, and now J.R. Blunt looking like he is going to be taking over as the new head basketball coach for the Toreros.
Yeah, he's widely respected around college basketball as one of the brightest young defensive minds in the sport, known for relentless work ethic, strong recruiting ties, and the timing matters. And we've talked about this already. There's been reports, but USD leadership has reportedly begun building a $2 to $4 million NIL pool to support the program, which is a major investment designed to help the Toreros compete with top programs in the West Coast Conference. So the season may have ended, but the rebuild is just getting started. And here's the thing, just for context about how much money that can get you. San Diego State works with about $2.7 million for their roster. So if USD can be at that level as San Diego State in town, you're going to have some really good competition in basketball here in Southern California. And we haven't even talked about the Tritons yet. If you're UCSD, 2.7 for the Aztecs, maybe 3 to 4 million for USD. You're going to be in the same conference as USD. That's another team that's going to have to just up their money a little bit. But men's basketball in town, I think, as disappointing as this year has been for a lot of the schools, the future is very bright for all three of them moving forward. Let's talk about women's basketball. Tournament fight shows progress for the women's side. They also saw their season end in the West Coast Conference Tournament on Friday, but they showed plenty of fight. They opened the tournament with a 62-62 win over St. Mary's, led by Kylie Ray and Haley Rhodes. Ray posted a 19-point, 10-rebound double-double, while Rhodes added 22 points to push the Toreros in the second round, but that's when the season ended.
Yeah, unfortunately, it ended the next day with a 62-51 loss to San Francisco. A lot of optimism, though. Freshman Olivia Owens finished last year averaging nearly 16 points per game over her final 11 games. That's showing the kind of development that could shape a program's future.
On to baseball. Tough weekend for Brock Ungrich's crew. They hit the road and ran through a tough opponent in the California Golden Bears. Toreros dropped a series opener 11-1. They fell twice in a Saturday doubleheader, 15-9, which they had a lead, and then 9-1. There were still some strong individual performances, though. Jaden Lobliner stayed red hot at the plate, going 3 for 3 in the opener, hitting .419 over his last 10 games. Meanwhile, Stanford transfer Gabe Springer delivered a breakout performance in the first game of the doubleheader. He went 4 for 4 with a homer, a double, and 3 runs scored.
Yeah, freshman Phoenix Brandt also added his first collegiate home run The problem wasn't entirely offense. In fact, USD actually jumped out to 4-0 and 6-2 leads in one of the games before Cal erupted with big innings late. So the big takeaway for the baseball side is the bats are there, but the pitching depth will also need to stabilize before conference play continues, very much like what we just discussed with San Diego State.
On to softball, nearly pulled off one of the wildest comebacks of the year as softball nearly delivered that this weekend. They fell 11-10 to Princeton on over the weekend, but the story was the seventh inning. They were trailing 11-4, and the Toreros exploded for 6 runs in the final frame, finishing with a season high 18 hits before ultimately falling 1 run short. Michelle Delgado led the way with a 4-for-5 performance, while Caitlin Wanaya drove in 3 runs and Carly Ruiz added 3 hits. Even in the loss, that type of offensive output shows this lineup can be dangerous at times.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of seems to be once again pitching. They fell behind late and then were able to get it with the bats. So, it had a great performance. That's a game where you could very easily just roll over, and they fought the entire way.
Current results probably not as high as what USD wants, but the future is bright for all 4 programs that we just talked about.